Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. On behalf of everyone at Rev.io, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. Before we begin the presentation, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items. First, audio will automatically come in through your computer speakers. However, if you're having trouble using your speakers or unhappy with the quality of the sound, you can also dial in via phone number and access code listed on the screen. Second, a recorded version of this webinar will be emailed to you within 2 weeks. Third, we will be having a Q&A session at the end of the event. Please submit your questions via the GoToWebinar control panel at any point during the live presentation. For those of you joining us, welcome. Today, Kevin Emmert from Keysys will be sharing strategies for achieving efficiency and scalability with back office integration. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Kevin. Kevin Emmert works as a product owner and client advocate at Keysys. He's an IT professional with over 16 years of experience in a variety of roles, from software engineer to API advocate. His passion is for efficiency, solving problems with cloud-based solutions, and making people's lives better. He's traveled the world but has a new addition to the family, so now he spends his time at home enjoying all the new adventures of fatherhood. Now I'll turn it over to Kevin.
Thank you, Delaney. My goal for this webinar session is that by the end of our time together, you'll have some concrete ideas and concrete starting points for leveraging different types of automation tools. This will provide leverage for your existing capacity, as well as provide a kickstart for being able to efficiently grow your business. These tools will handle increased load with ease, grow with you as your needs change, and reduce the need for repetitive tasks. Our observations over the last couple of years have been, if these tool sets are not being used, businesses have to invest in headcount, which have also experienced the ongoing challenges of recruiting and holding on to top talent. So one of the questions you may be asking yourself is, why am I listening to this guy? That's a great question. 2 years ago, we started a relationship with Rev.io as their go-to partner for helping fulfill their customers' custom development needs. Since that time, we've been building some pretty cool technology. Today, I'm going to show off some of what we've built and talk to you about how you can use what we've already created and tailor it to your particular needs. Everyone on this call is part of an industry that's in hyper-growth mode and a constant state of change. You are having to juggle this challenge with technologies that are effective but don't communicate with each other. You may recognize that there are inefficiencies in your company in the form of too many emails or an overabundance of spreadsheets. Sometimes I feel like my goal in life is to eliminate as many emails and spreadsheets as possible. Emails and spreadsheets are effective because they quickly get the job done, but they don't scale well. Emails go unanswered, turned into 30+ thread novels. That halts business processes because they have limited visibility or sometimes too much. And for spreadsheets, you may be looking at the latest version of a spreadsheet, maybe not, maybe it's last month numbers. Sometimes it's just hard to tell. Our session today is going to focus on how you can leverage investments you've already made with systems like Rev.io and your ecosystem of technology that can interface with core systems like Rev.io. As we've seen over the last couple of years with our relationship with Rev clients, the struggle is real, and many times it's hard to know where to start. The realization is that you either have to invest in people to continue with how you currently operate or leverage some of the new techniques with technology automation. My goal is that by the end of our time together, you'll understand the different API-based strategies to grow your business. Areas like handling increased load with ease, reporting as your needs change, and reducing the need for repetitive manual tasks. The Multitenant Portal is a way to allow your employees and customers to have a centralized application to perform a variety of functions without having to directly interact with all parts of your ecosystem. Executive Dashboard is a place where you can pull meaningful, actionable data in a format that's easy to read and evaluate. Integration Manager is a Keysys product that automates the movement of data between any systems with an open API. All three of these products and strategies we're going to get into with a little bit more detail. So as you grow, there's a lot of decisions you make regarding the tools that you use and the people you decide to hire. The hardest part with people or resources is they don't scale well, and many times repetitive tasks are less attractive to top talent. Customer support requests, regularly analyzing data, and repetitive data entry are currently time-intensive processes that don't make a lot of sense to have someone do on a regular basis. So let's start identifying needs at your company and how they could be addressed. We're going to start small, talk about how to build and grow after you take that first step. First, you may have 1,000 SIM cards that you're managing. If a customer comes to you and says, I need to activate 100 of them, you could probably log into AT&T or Verizon, spend a couple of hours finding the devices, activating them. But what if it were 1,000 or 5,000? At some point, addressing everything manually doesn't make sense. This could be addressed in a multi-tenant portal. Everyone has AR. That's a great indicator of the health of your business, but who has visibility into this? Is this something that you look at every day? How long does it take to get that information? What if everyone at your company knew what that was and worked as a team to make sure all customers were current? This could be addressed with an executive dashboard. Are you entering the same data in multiple systems, running into issues with inconsistent data? Why haven't you picked the system of record and let the data flow to all the others? This could be addressed with Integration Manager. Likely in your ecosystem, you're using some version of all these different tools. The good news is almost all of them have some version of an open API. APIs enable us to get real-time data, consolidate functions into one central location. I'll talk more about ways to leverage with the different tools later. But in your evaluations, one of the first questions you should ask is, does this product have an open API? And what business functions are available from that API? So let's start talking about different problems. What do most customers want to know? What's the status of my devices? What's my current usage? How much is my bill? What if your customers had one place to log in and view all that information? By directing your customers to a self-service portal, that could reduce the load on your staff and allow you to deliver customer service 24/7. The key component of a portal is multi-tenancy. This controls the functions that are available based on your access level. So maybe you have a super admin that have access to all the business functions, and you have customer service reps that maybe they can update devices for a customer. But also with your portal, you could have your customers just manage their own account. By starting with a multi-tenant structure, you can have one place for your employees to log in as well as customers. You can build on proven architecture and easily add new functionality as your business grows and evolves. So really having the structure of the multi-tenant portal allows you to add a module, which say for instance is adding the ability to change your SIM cards and also track your usage. And considering that as one module, then if you want to add more functionality later, you already have the structure of the multi-tenant portal. So then you're just adding, rather than a new system, you're adding one module. And then if you have 10 modules, maybe you're just adding one piece of functionality. So really the structure of the multi-tenant portal allows for the adding of new functionality. All right, one of the roles in your portal could be a customer service representative. Wouldn't it be great if a customer calls and the representative could select the customer, validate their address, see their latest quotes, check the devices from ThinkSpace and usage, or check their latest bill and AR. All of this data could be pulled via API calls to the various systems. It's probably a bit much to ask to have your customer service rep log into 5 different systems while they're on the phone, and when really all of this data could be available to the customer if they logged in to the same portal. And having real-time dynamic data like usage and billing information could be a great value for your customers, especially if they have little visibility into their monthly bill until it comes. So let's talk about different problems we could address with a multi-tenant portal. So let's say your client wants to pay their current bill and see usage. So today, probably most of your customers are using the Rev.io bill center, which is great, but that's one login that you're giving them. If you have a portal, maybe you have another login that they're having to manage. And really, we want to decomplicate our customers' lives. And the one way to do that is with the multi-tenant portal. So with your portal, you can have them log into one place. You could then have a single sign-on into the Rev.io bill center. You could then pull in your usage via API from AT&T or from Verizon. So they really have that one central place to get all the information they need and for you to kind of communicate with your customer. So let's say your client wants to see their original quote of business. Maybe they want to look back at, maybe you provided a few different quotes and they weren't ready to approve one yet. So what happens when they are ready to approve it? They could probably call into your customer service representative or talk to the salesperson that they talked to before. And maybe they send an email, you've got that back and forth, which isn't really tracked in a system. Well, what you could use is the portal could leverage the API from your quoting system, show all their quotes, and you could really give them the ability to approve a quote as well. So in the portal, they could review the quotes, they could approve it by sending it back to your quoting system, and then you could move forward from there. So it's really a way to kind of interact with your customers, provide that real-time data, really give them some visibility into your process and some visibility into what they've really asked for, and to start that relationship. So let's say another problem is a device has been compromised, it has unusually high usage. Maybe there's some sort of technical error where you're getting this constant, high usage on this device. So when that happens, your customer really wouldn't be aware of it until the bill comes to it. And then you have an angry customer who then, it could be a fault of their own, but you really haven't given them the tools to kind of manage their devices. So maybe right now that would be handled with a call. What could be happening is maybe you set up some automatic alerts in your portal, allow them to configure it. Maybe every time a device is over 1 gigabyte in usage, then you send out an alert because maybe they shouldn't be ever hitting that threshold. You could certainly set that up as one of your modules in your multi-tenant portal to check usage and to allow your customer to kind of set those thresholds and to be alerted via email or text when they hit that threshold. And so if they got, let's say they got one of those alerts, your customer could log into the portal, they could see their device, they could see that usage, they could search for the device, and then they could deactivate it. And then that would give them time to address the issue and not basically be surprised, a month or a month and a half later once they actually get that bill. So one of the reasons I'm excited to talk to you guys today is because I know when building up an ecosystem, the more participants we have in it is better for everyone. When we add modules, we can see if that functionality makes sense for other portal partners. For example, single sign-on into Rev.io's billing platform. With that module, we build it for one, and then we can then offer it to other portal partners to see if it makes sense to add that module to their multi-tenant portal. By using single sign-on, which I know is something that all of your customers probably use, that's really, an efficient way to cut down on development costs and to really add value for everyone who's using the multi-tenant portal. Another example of a shared module might be responding to bandwidth.com port out requests. So if a number is being ported out, Bandwidth.com has a current process where they send a request to any system that you have available, and then you can use your business rules to basically approve or deny that port out request. If you don't have a system there, then it really could just be a matter of time before the number gets ported out because they didn't really get a response from you. In this video, you can see a portal we built. You can see your devices pulled via API, usage pulled via API. You're able to update the status of a device via API. And also, if you want to upload a file to do mass updates, that's available. You can see we have customers or clients and users for those customers. So your own customers could add users to their account if they wanted to. Really, they can change the naming of it to whatever your company uses and whatever user structure makes sense for your business. This is a custom portal. You start with the base architecture and then you make it yours. The portal is a great way to connect different tools in your ecosystem and perform different functions. But how do you know what is going on in each of those other tools at a high level? Rev.io reports are great. So let's talk about a problem that we can address with the dashboard. So kind of as we saw in the original graphic where you have a quoting system, you have a billing system, you have an accounting system, you have a CRM, basically you have a lot of different systems, and some people might have time. Most people don't have time to log into every system every day to kind of see what's going on and really kind of get those reports of like the overall health of each of the applications, because no one really wants to do that. So this makes a lot of sense to automate. Now, if you're generating spreadsheets to get this information, that definitely can be done, but really it's a time-intensive process that doesn't make a lot of sense. So today, what happens with that data when you're using your Rev.io reports? Maybe just you see them, maybe only a couple people at your business see them. Does everyone read the emails that are sent in the reports? Do you have to go back and look at last month to see if this month the numbers make sense? What if you had one place to go for the data in multiple systems? This process would just take a few minutes to review and identify major issues or successes in your company. In interest of starting small, let's say your dashboard only had total revenue for the month and AR. A great place to begin is to have actionable data. With the AR report, you can target the most out-of-date customers and see the fruits of your labors reflected in a graphical format. Total revenue and total revenue trends can help identify problems or spark inquiries into what's the cause for the success. First, we'll focus on a dashboard just using Rev.io reports with AR and total revenue. Once you start using your dashboard, maybe there's other information from other systems that you want consolidated in one easy to read place. The way to get this data is through APIs. Some APIs are better than others, so understanding what's available could help shape what you want to display on your dashboard. And by starting with those first two examples of ARs and total revenue, really once you get used to using the dashboard, you see what's important and what's actionable. By starting small, then over time you'll really be able to identify what's important for your business and what other information you need to know. So let's say I wanted to know how much business my sales team had proposed. Currently, you may be talking to your sales manager and asking her for numbers or demanding spreadsheets of the progress, which then someone has to build and go through that time-intensive process of making sure that they have accurate information, double checking it, and maybe you get those numbers once a month, or kind of whenever someone can get around to it. You could be using a dashboard to show all your open quotes, everything that's trending over 6 months, along with your AR and revenue, and really the consolidation of data from different systems. So by having your dashboard and having that historical data, you can really identify problems, possibly with your sales team, because maybe they're not keeping up and they're not really proposing as much data now as before. And by being able to identify those problems, you can really stay on top of your business. So let's say I wanted to know how many active devices we have. So I know a lot of you have different providers. Maybe you have Sprint or Verizon. Maybe you have Verizon ThingSpace. Maybe you have like the mobile platform. So by being able to log into those different providers and create a spreadsheet, that might be how you're currently figuring out how many devices you even have available. You could be using Dashboard to pull numbers from all those providers. They all have open APIs that you can pull devices, you can pull statuses. You can see how many devices are in test ready, how many are active, how many are deactivated. And then you can really kind of see those trends as far as, how much you're going to grow your business, or maybe identify problems of, your need for additional capacity in the next month or two. So one example of the power of visual. A client we helped automatically pull AR report data and display that report, among others, on a TV in their office. As time went on at the office, everyone was aware of what clients were overdue. A team effort resulted in the last time I was at their office, all revenue was 60 days or less overdue. The power of the visual indicator can reward people for a job well done and allow everyone to celebrate your successes. In this video, you can see a dashboard with some sales agents that you may know. So each of these graphics has a drill down so you can see the underlying data that's helping to build them. I know we've only been talking about AR and total revenue, but as you can see here, the revenue, the AR has a lot of people overdue, and so by increasing the visibility of these types of dashboards, maybe salespeople's bonuses rely on the AR, because you guys really can't pay salespeople unless if you have real revenue coming in. And maybe your collections, I realize that sometimes that's a bit of a thankless job, but if they're on top of it, everyone having that visibility into AR, as they see that far right bar slowly move to the left, then you can really see, get that feedback of them doing a good job, being able to kind of reward people with, them taking care of the things that are really helping keep your company healthy. All right. Reporting is a great way to actively manage your business, but there are also times when you want things automated, so you don't have to actively manage it. Setting up automated data movement could help eliminate the swivel chair process that you may currently be living in. Integration Manager is a product developed and owned by Keysys. We built it originally as an integration between Rev.io and QuickBooks Online to transfer data as often as the user wanted to. It's customizable if the base data mappings aren't exactly what you need. Integration Manager is also designed to integrate with any system with an open API. We recently built in additional features to make it easier to integrate with new systems. The main function of Integration Manager is to automate the movement of data between systems, so you don't have to swivel chair and re-enter the same data more than once. Then it comes down to picking a system record or entry point of data and automating the movement of data from there. Most customers use Integration Manager to leverage the Rev.io reports to create customers, invoices, payments, and credits in QuickBooks Online. For example, I'll use the simplest, which is customer creation. So our first task would be creating customers in our quoting tool. And when a new order is created, you can create a customer in Rev.io in your account and in your accounting system, Integration Manager has pre-built mappings for each data transfer that you can leave as the default or modify to fit your business need. So in this case, if we're talking about, a customer coming in on your quoting system, then you don't want to have to re-enter in that customer's address and other information. You could use Integration Manager to create that customer in your accounting, create that customer in Rev.io, create that customer in CRM. Or if you're more likely to have all of your customers come in through CRM first, maybe that's really what you want your data entry point to be, where they're coming in through CRM. Integration Manager then creates that customer in the quoting tool, creates it in accounting, creates it in Rev.io. It really kind of comes down to more business decisions than technical with Integration Manager. Because of the open APIs, you can really automate that movement of data once you decide from a business standpoint how you want it to work. So here's our first problem. I need all the invoices from Rev.io put into my accounting system. I know today, currently, some people's accountants are generating a Rev.io report, downloading that into a spreadsheet, modifying it, adjusting some values if needed, adding some values, and then uploading that to QuickBooks Online. For Integration Manager, you set up the mapping one time, you schedule it to run, and then you basically sit back and let it run. So problem number 2, my customer has accepted my quote and I need to add it to my billing platform. So today, when you get a quote in Rev.io, you're going to have to create a customer, you have to create an address or multiple address, you're going to have to create that request, attach that address to the request, manually enter the details of the order, and then set that order to the status so it can then get picked up and billed to the customer. With Integration Manager, it's really the same as with QuickBooks Online. You set up the mapping, you schedule it to run, and then that's it. In this video, you'll see the different types of mappings that are available. A mapping is a series of data transformations. For instance, billing address in Rev.io could be called just an address in QuickBooks Online. And so each of those data transformations, we create and we populate the transformations that we know work. But if you want to add some conditional data, you can do that as well. So nothing in Integration Manager is set in stone, but what is available from a default transfer standpoint will work. So then, it comes down to, maybe you want to put in custom descriptions, or maybe you want certain things mapped to a certain account if this condition is met. For example, some people, they want all their credit card payments to go in one, all their checks to go into another account. You then just have to establish that account within your accounting system, and then you can map that in Integration Manager, and then every month you won't have to do that. You just set up the mapping one time to run. What you also can see here is that we have the history. So you can see the history of transactions of what has been sent. In this case, it's invoices to QuickBooks. What you can see here is you've got a lot of transactions that posted, and there was a bunch that skipped. And so we put controls. If you have unique identifiers on your transactions within Integration Manager, then if you try and send that same transaction that already posted, it will be skipped the second time. So we have controls in place with Integration Manager to basically not allow anyone to repost the same data, the same invoices, the same payments multiple times. You post them once, and then once that data is transferred, we don't allow that to be sent again. if that's how you want your business rules to work. We also can take that off that control if you do want to repost the same invoices multiple times. I would recommend against that, but if that's how you want to do it, that's definitely available. All right. So what we discussed, multi-tenant portals can be used to communicate with all of your systems with open APIs to update a variety of systems and be your main communication point with your clients. And so one thing I've tried to kind of go through is that with each of these solutions, you can start small. And really, the reason you can start small is because of the structure of each of these products. So with your multi-tenant portal, you can start small, put in a couple modules of your business functions that you want to address. And then because of the structure of the multi-tenant portal, if a month goes by or a couple months goes by, you're using the portal and then you start identifying your top business needs, then it's not a whole system redesign. It's really just adding that new module functionality. And so because the multi-tenant portal allows you to say, okay, I only want admins to be able to do this functionality, or maybe I want admins and customer service reps to do this and I don't want to make it available for your customers. The structure of the multi-tenant portal allows that. And so I recommend, starting small and then building from there. And then that way, you can integrate it into your business, because a lot of times, a lot of the conversations I've had with different Rev clients is, you'll have 10 priorities on the first meeting, and then you'll have 10 new priorities the next meeting, and then 10 other priorities the first one. So it's really, a matter of getting started, identifying a couple of, the couple of needs that can be addressed, not redesigning your whole business process, but allowing that, the hiring of that portal or the hiring of that new employee as your portal to grow with your business, and to really for you to kind of identify those needs, and then to build those custom features into your portal and help it evolve and grow with you. The executive dashboard can be used to pull actionable information from your ecosystem, and it's a great way to get real-time data and eliminate spreadsheet management. And the starting small with executive dashboard is maybe you're talking about AR and total revenue, really great indicators of what's going on in your business. But I use the example of quoting tools and kind of seeing what business is being proposed. But then those decisions really come down to you of what information are you asking for on a regular basis. Sometimes people want to know what bills are coming in on a daily basis. But because it's a time-intensive process, I know I've had this conversation many times, that maybe people only know once a month like what's going on, and they can't really identify those problems and address them quickly because they're only getting that information once a month. By pulling that data every day through your executive dashboard, then it's really available for you, so you can see that and you can see the trends and you can act and really make smart decisions for your business. And Integration Manager is a tool that can help you automate the movement of data between a variety of systems. It helps your data be consistent and accurate. And really, Integration Manager is designed to handle large volumes of data or small volumes of data. So if you're transferring, 10 invoices or 1,000 invoices, it really doesn't affect Integration Manager. But I bet the people that are using are not using Integration Manager, it wouldn't make a difference if they were doing 1,000 invoices versus 10. Excuse me. So what's the next steps? You'll be receiving a flyer from Keysys, the $1,000 development credit for all webinar attendees. Let's talk about how these different solutions can help you grow and scale. And if you want to contact our team, in the interest of eliminating emails, let's go ahead and email our sales team at sales@keysys.io. Are there any questions?
Great. Thank you so much, Kevin, for your time today and sharing this important information for when and what to automate. Before we begin the Q&A portion of the presentation, I'd like to thank our audience for joining us today and review a few housekeeping items. The first reminder is that we're always interested in topics that you'd like to learn about, so please submit your topic ideas in the Q&A box. In addition, the full webinar recording will be emailed to you within 2 weeks. Lastly, if you've submitted any questions during the presentation that don't get addressed in the live Q&A, we will be following up with you individually via email. Now I'd like to ask a few questions from our audience. If I was going to start with the portal, where do I start?
So with the portal, the way we do it is we identify, a few different business functions or what you think are the most important or are important things you want to address. We then figure out the structure of which you want to have your portal. So if you have super admins, maybe you have customer service reps, maybe you have salespeople that would have certain business functions. Maybe you have people in the field like doing work and they need to see work orders, and maybe you have customers. And then maybe those customers have sub-customers. So really the first thing we do is kind of identify the structure of what you need your portal. And then the next step is, designing those modules and kind of figuring out how we're going to get you the data that you need in an efficient way.
Can you briefly describe the batch process? Doesn't QB have a requirement to log in?
That's a great question. QuickBooks Online does have a requirement to log in, but the way integration works, it works a lot like Facebook Connect, where we get a token. So from Integration Manager, we redirect you to QuickBooks, you authenticate there with your normal username and password, and then that token gets passed back to Integration Manager so we can act on your behalf.
With Integration Manager, if something changes on either system, what happens?
So if like, let's say there's a version update for an API call, or maybe they are discontinuing the version, we would just have to either add a new mapping to Integration Manager, which that's something that Keysys would do. But if there's like a change to a field, that all can be dynamically edited within an Integration Manager itself. So it's not, we don't hard code any API information into Integration Manager. It's all dynamically created based on the request and the responses that we're expecting to get.
It looked like you had a dashboard screen in Portal. Is that a combined application?
Yeah, so really the portal itself is a custom application. So that's really your storefront for your customers. So if you wanted to put different graphics on your storefront, you could definitely do that and kind of have a hybrid solution there.
Great.
So with
sorry.
No, it's okay. With that storefront, maybe what you saw earlier was device usage and a scatter plot, so you can see kind of devices that are outliers. You could then potentially click on your graphics, have those same drill downs, and kind of identify those devices that are out of the norm. So maybe you have a device that's creating a lot of sessions because it's having trouble connecting. So maybe you have like a rogue device. By having that graphical data, you can really identify problems and get them taken care of.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Kevin and Keysys, for this educational webinar. And I'd like to thank our audience again for joining us.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.